Right, welcome to London. Now let's hit some bookstores. That's right, I've returned from London, UK, and well, let's say I did some damage. Let's dive right in. I'll link all of these books I talk about down below in the description, so you can have a look for yourself if you want to. But now we're doing a book haul. First one up is I Who Have Never Known Man by Jacqueline Harpman. And yes, I had to travel all the way over to London to get a book by a Belgian author. Jacqueline Harpman isn't that well known. She's not even that well known in Belgium, but this book, well, I am definitely going to call this book the cult book of this year. This book is starting to make waves on all kinds of bookish social media, and for the better, because this book, if you haven't read it already, this book is truly something else. The premises of the story is rather simple in itself. It is a apocalyptic dystopian world in which 40 women are held prisoner. They are held prisoner down somewhere below ground in a bunker. They have no idea how they got there. They have no idea what year it is or what season or what day it even is. And they are just kept alive. The only people they see are their fellow prisoners and the male guards. Just until one day, all of a sudden, there is a siren, there's an alarm going, and they manage to escape. And they come into the world above. And what they see and experience there, well, again, I'm not going to spoil the book for you. I have read it already, didn't own a copy, so I finally picked one up. And yes, if you love very strange, psychological, dystopian, mind-bending drama, then absolutely give this one a try. It is truly one of the best books in its genre. I Who Have Never Known Men by Belgian author Jacqueline Harpman. Next one up is Small Things Like These by Keegan. Again, I've said it before earlier this year when I started reading Claire Keegan's Antarctica, a collection of short stories. I was blown away and I immediately knew that I wanted to read more Claire Keegan. Small Things Like These was nominated, shortlisted for a Booker Prize in 2022. Went on to win lots of different prizes and I know virtually nothing about this book. The blurb says it is 1985 in an Irish town. During the weekends leading up Christmas, Bill Furlong, a coal and timber merchant, faces his busiest season. As he goes around the houses making deliveries, he feels the past rising up to meet him. And he encounters the complicit silences of his small community controlled by the church. It does feel like quintessential small town Ireland, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Again, very small book. It is only, I think, about 120 pages or something, but Claire Keegan has already proven to me that she can pack a lot of punch in a small number of pages. So yeah, very much looking forward to reading this one and continuing on my Claire Keegan journey. Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. Another author I was blown out of the water by when I read their first book, Open Water, is Azumah Nelson. So yeah, I'm continuing that journey with Small Worlds. Small Worlds is, again, according to the blurb, set over the course of 3 summers from London to Ghana and back again. It is an exhilarating and expansive novel about the worlds we build for ourselves. The worlds we live in, we dance in, and we love within. I absolutely loved Open Water. I have even said that that book could very well become one of the new modern classics in the future. And I'm really curious if he can continue that streak of writing with this one. The cover really looks similar. Again, it is all about family, about intimacy, about personal relationships, but also about identity and gender and race and being someone from a different cultural background in a very cosmopolitan city like modern London. So yeah, again, has many of the vibes of Open Water, and I do hope it does bring something new to the story, but really looking forward to reading this one. So Small Worlds by Caleb Azumah Nelson as our next book. The next one, I will happily admit, is a cover buy. It is The Ghost Cat by Alex Howard, and I know nothing, absolutely nothing about this book. The reason why I bought it, because I love the cover and it gave me that Japanese literary fiction that I've been enjoying so much lately vibes. So yeah, I absolutely had to give it a try. It says 12 decades, 9 lives, 1 cat. Early morning 1902 at 77 Marchmont Crescent, the char lady tips coal into a fire grate and sets it alight. Overhearing Grimalkin, the cat ambles over to curl up against the welcome heat. But yeah, this is to be his last day on Earth because he is about to become a ghost cat. And from there on we follow Grimalkin as he witnesses the changes within the next 120 years as he prowls unseen through the inhabitants of an Edinburgh tenement while unearthing some startling revelations about the mystery of existence. Yeah, well, color me intrigued. This could be a fluke, this could be a next favorite book, I have no idea. But hey, that's part of the charm of discovering new authors, new books, and yeah, well, reading as a whole. The Ghost Cat by Alex Howard. Then another post-apocalyptic treasure that I've read as an audiobook, but I didn't really own a copy of, so I had to pick it up. It won a Pulitzer Prize for fiction, and again, it is one of those books that once you've read it, you will reread time and time again. It is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. If you haven't read it, The Road by Cormac McCarthy is a post-apocalyptic story about a father and his son, and they are trying to make it for the coast. They really don't know what's waiting for them there, and it is all about their journey as two survivors, as a father, as a son, and all of the obstacles and dangers on the road. There's a destroyed landscape, there are like brigands waiting for them on their way, and it is all about trying to survive and trying to stay human and stay connected to the ones you love. For the gamers amongst us, I always thought this book had The Last of Us vibes. Absolutely loved it. Wanted a copy of my own, and yeah, here we are. The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Yeah, if you're looking for a great post-apocalyptic read, if you're looking for a book that will tug at your heartstrings, if you look for a great story, if you look for something totally different, I highly recommend The Road by Cormac McCarthy. The next one is something special because it is the only non-fiction book in this pile of books that I brought with me. And again, it is a gamble. I had never heard of it before. It is brand new. I love the cover, and it is The Garden Against Time in Search of a Common Paradise by Olivia Laing. And again, I say this is a non-fiction book, but it explores all kinds of fiction. And the story of this book is, again, rather simple. The author, Olivia, buys a new house, gets a garden that comes with it, and starts to work in it, tries to overcome the jungle that it has become in all of the years that it was not cared for, and she tries to sculpt her own piece of paradise from it. And while doing so, and as her hands are busy, there's lots of space for thought in her head, and she starts to muse on the idea of paradise and what does paradise mean. And in this book she tells about her own garden, but she also explores all kinds of notions of paradise, from Paradise Lost by Milton over to other literary gardens, but also how gardening could be a form of rebellion, of revolt, of trying to find your freedom. But also how someone's garden, someone's plantation could be someone's prison, and she dives into slavery, and there's lots and lots of meandering of the thoughts as her hands are busy, and all of these thoughts, all of these stories are packed in this book. beautiful cover, and it comes with these black and white botanical sketches. Yeah, I'm intrigued. This really could be a book that I will love to read. Again, it could be a fluke. I'll let you know in a future video. But for now, The Garden Against Time by Olivia Laing. Now the next one is a book that I know I will absolutely love. I've seen a lot of people talk about this book, and I simply had to pick up a copy. And this is There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak. And yes, I'm a sucker for a beautiful signed copy, which this book absolutely is. Now, as far as I've read and heard about this book tells several stories. There are stories in the past, in ancient Mesopotamia, there are stories in Turkey, Victorian London, and even modern day Europe as we speak. And all of these stories might seem very different, but they are connected by water. These are the stories of rivers like the Euphrates, the Nile, but also the Thames. And while time may flow by, the rivers keep flowing in the same place. And yeah, this book ticks many of my boxes. It has a literary fiction feel to it, it has an historical fiction feel to it. The Epic of Gilgamesh plays a very important role in this book as I understand it. And I have recently finished a ancient literature course from Harvard University online, and we analyzed a lot of Epic of Gilgamesh. So I'm very intrigued to rediscover and see what this author Elif Shafak has done with that ancient story and how they have brought it into modern literary fiction. So yeah, very intrigued, very looking forward. This will probably be one of my next reads. Although don't pin me down on that comment, because there are some quite potent contestants to come still. But yeah, really high on my TBR, absolutely looking forward to it. And look, it is just a beautiful book on the outside as well. There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak. Again, I can't resist a beautiful edition of a book like this. And speaking of beautiful editions, let's have a look at this one. This is The Cautious Traveler's Guide to the Wastelands by Sarah Brooks. And I know nothing about it. It has a steampunk vibe, it has a sci-fi vibe, it has a post-apocalyptic, dystopian kind of vibe. And I just loved how it looked. I mean, this book taps into my love for trains and old trains. And I mean, can you blame me having to pick this up? And, well, I don't know much about the story. It is said that there is a price that every passenger must pay. A price beyond the cost of a ticket. And that's it. That's the blurb. Color me intrigued. Don't know anything about it. Have not seen it on any of the social media that talks about books. So I'm going in blind. I'll let you know. But for now, yeah, let's just marvel at another beautiful copy, another beautiful edition, another gorgeous book that I simply couldn't resist. So, The Cautious Traveler's Guide to the Wasteland by Sarah Brooks, a big unknown to me. Now, confession time. Apparently I have been lying to you in this video because there is another non-fiction book that I forgot I picked up. And speaking about books being beautiful, this is A Year Unfolding by Angela Harding, and it is your typical coffee table book. Again, signed copy because I am a fan of her work. If you don't know her, Angela Harding is a British artist who lives somewhere in a very small rural village down in the countryside, and she makes these beautiful nature drawings, lots of animals, lots of plants, and I absolutely love her work. This book is basically a collection of her artwork, and it follows her all through the year, all through the seasons, from her little cottage, and it has, well, let me show you, many of her drawings in it. And as you look at them, she explains what she was seeing outside of a window or what type of birds she was seeing, how they come to the feeding table, things like that. It's a very cozy book with lots of beautiful artwork, lots of her beautiful drawings. I'm a fan, I love her artwork, and I just had to pick this one up. So yeah, this is definitely going to be one of my new favorite coffee table books, and I will just move it around the house wherever I go. And every time I get to sit down, enjoy a cup of coffee, then I will pick it up and just page through it, read some of the comments, look at the artwork, and then be gone again. A Year Unfolding, A Printmaker's View by Angela Harding. Then, almost last but certainly not least, I said there was another big contender of being the first book that I was going to read, and it is a book that I flagged very early this year already as one of the books that I absolutely had on my radar. Now, as luck would have it, just when I was in London, the book was coming out, and as a book is first published again, that means exclusive editions. This is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. And now, before I even going to talk about this book, let's just take a moment and marvel at this gorgeous edition with the deep red and the very dramatic black. The insides, I mean, this screams Lady Macbeth to me. And yes, this is a retelling of the Macbeth story, but from the viewpoint of one of its, well, very interesting characters, Lady Macbeth herself. Now, I have not read any of Ava Reid's books. I have seen a lot of people talk about A Study in Drowning, which they absolutely loved. It is one of their favorite books. Have not read it myself, but when I saw there was going to be a Lady Macbeth retelling, I was sold. I was sold already purely by the idea of taking one of the probably best characters that Shakespeare ever wrote and do something totally different with it. So very looking forward to reading this one. And even the little subtitle here, That Touched, Poison-Eyed, Witch-Kissed. I mean, this promises already a lot for this story and this book. So I hope it's not going to disappoint. I hope this will end up somewhere very high on my favorite books of the year. Yeah, really looking forward to reading this one. I was originally going to keep it for Halloween, but I don't think I can. This one begs to be read. Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. And we end this little book haul with 3 volumes, 3 comics. These are the first 3 parts of the Umbrella Academy series. Now, I am a big fan of the Umbrella Academy series adaptation on Netflix. And I was talking about season 4 that now has dropped with someone in my book club, when all of a sudden we both realized that we had never actually read the comics. A grave oversight that had to be fixed. So yeah, I picked up the first 3 parts in the series, The Apocalypse Suite, Dallas, and Hotel Oblivion, which is about the first 3 seasons of the series on Netflix, I think. And I will say, I finished the first part already, the Apocalypse Suite, and then it is strange because normally when you have a film adaptation or an adaptation for television, the cinematic adaptation is shorter. They have to cut corners, they have to cut little storylines, they have to cut character time, because yeah, that's what television or film is. In this case, especially after reading the first part, it is the other way around. I feel that in the television series there is much more space for character development, for personal story arcs than there is in the comics. The comics are very action-packed. It is all your pows and pops like the old Batman and superhero comics. And I must say, I'm very intrigued. It does deliver on that Umbrella promise. This truly feels like the Umbrella Academy, and I must say that I am truly in awe of the series makers. ability to capture the very strange, dark atmosphere and over-the-top humor that this series brings. So these will be my go-to in-between books, my like secret delight, my guilty pleasure when I'm just not feeling like reading a big, bulky literary fiction book. I am going to finish these in no time. I already know. I'm here for it. It has been a long time that I read a good, silly superhero, dark horse, comic kind of graphic novel. And these really scratch that itch. So yeah, the Umbrella Academy series, if you want to save the world and possibly leave it worse. And yeah, that's it. That's the book haul. I also bought some Bookish items, but I guess I'll showcase them on my Instagram. Links again down below in the description if you're up for that. Now before I go, I want to hear from you. Are you intrigued by any of these books? Maybe you've read some of these yet? Let me know down below in the comments and we'll talk book hauling some more. In the meantime, if you are up for even more Bookish reviews, well, that's easy. All you have to do is watch this video.